Midnight Drearies.
It was a chilly autumn evening when Mark Tyson stumbled upon an intriguing online auction. Among the macabre items up for bidding was a pair of worn tennis shoes that once belonged to a notorious serial killer. The description sent a chill down his spine, but curiosity gnawed at him relentlessly. Against his better judgment, he clicked the place bid button and entered the twisted world of sneakerheads. Shoe collecting has been growing in popularity since the 1980s with burgeoning hip-hop scene and high-profile basketball players. With the addition of limited editions and celebrity collaborations, sneaker culture has evolved into a multi-million-dollar pastime with its own conventions and special events. Days passed, and Mark's anticipation grew as the auction came to a close. To his surprise and unease, he discovered he had won the bid for the shoes. A mix of excitement and trepidation washed over him, unsure of the dark path he had just set foot upon. Pun intended. The package arrived on a gloomy Tuesday afternoon, its contents concealed within a simple wall-marked shoebox. Mark hesitated before opening it, his mind plagued by doubts and a growing sense of foreboding. Ignoring his unease, he tore open the package, revealing the shoes aged and worn, with a distinct aura of malevolence. What was he talking about? They were only shoes. Driven by an inexplicable compulsion, Mark slipped the shoes onto his feet. The moment they made contact with his skin, a shiver coursed through his entire being. As he stood up, an eerie sensation enveloped him, a disturbing connection to the dark history held within the canvas. From that moment on, Mark's life took a sinister turn. Strange occurrences plagued his every waking moment. Whispers echoed through his mind, tormenting him with chilling tales of the serial killer's heinous acts. Shadows danced on the walls, taking on ghastly forms that sent his heart racing. As days turned into weeks, Mark's behavior began to change. His once bright and cheerful demeanor dimmed, replaced by an unsettling coldness. Dark impulses surged within him, tempting him to explore the depths of his newfound connection to the shoe's history. Mark's descent into darkness accelerated, as if he had become a vessel for the serial killer's damned spirit. His thoughts grew increasingly twisted, consumed by violent fantasies and a hunger for blood. The line between reality and nightmare blurred, leaving him trapped in a waking horror. Realizing the dire consequences of his connection to the shoes, Mark fought to break free from their grip. Desperate, he sought help from a paranormal expert, Dr. Amelia Blackwood, who had experience with cursed artifacts. Together, they delved into the history of the shoes, unearthing the secrets that bound them to darkness. Dr. Blackwood devised a daring plan to sever the bond between Mark and the shoes. Through a grueling exorcism ritual, they hoped to purge the malevolent influence that had consumed him. The battle against the supernatural forces that clung to the shoes would test their resilience and determination. The exorcism proved to be a harrowing ordeal, pushing Mark and Dr. Blackwood to their limits. As the ritual reached its climax, the shoes fought back. A strange, living darkness began to grow out of the shoes and crawl up Mark's legs, digging into the meat of his calves and thighs like slender, burrowing, demonic parasitic worms. He could not control his feet. He kicked Amelia in the stomach. As she doubled over from the strike, Mark kicked her legs out from under her. He then proceeded to kick her in the face until she was unconscious and bleeding badly from the mouth and nose. The Milwaukee Sneaker Party USA convention was next week. It had grown to be the biggest sneaker convention in the Midwest, even bigger than SneakerCon or Sneakerpalooza. Mark decided to run there. His feet were young and virile and ready to get out into the world and make some waves. Bad waves. Dark waves. Waves of violence and mutilation. Mark arrived at the Milwaukee Sneaker Party USA feeling strong and refreshed. The 665-mile run was more like a light jog through sunlit backroads and amber waves of grain. Quite a pleasant and scenic journey in juxtaposition of what he was about to do. A sneaker freaker death vacation. The possessed shoes kicked their way past security, only pausing momentarily to curb stomp a few furries wearing comically large Chuck Taylors. They were mascot characters for the popular sneakerhead community message boards and auction site FUCC.IT. Mark began kicking everyone in his way. The shoes had a mind of their own. And they controlled his feet. They were looking for something, but he didn't know what. Their pace grew quicker as they got to the back of the vendor hall of the Milwaukee Sneaker Party USA. Mark found himself standing in front of a booth called Voodoo Shoe Man. Behind the table was John Soulman Jefferson, legend in polite sneakerhead society in New Orleans, black magic man stereotype, a real Baron Samedi-looking motherfucker. His Air Jordans had been blessed with blood from the man himself. Soulman said to Mark, "No matter where you're going, don't let your shoes outrun your feet." Mark replied, "What the hell does that mean? I'm gonna kick your brains out." Soulman said, "Not so fast, my friend." He pulled out an enchanted 12-inch shoehorn and began popping the shadowy tentacles off of Mark's legs and thighs. He tried to kick the big voodoo man, but Jefferson was the size of a towering basketball player himself and gave little Mark the Shack Attack wigdy whack, grabbing him by the throat and telling him to fight the monster inside him and stand still. Soulman then stood on the tips of Mark's toes and bodily lifted him out of the shoes. The possession was instantly broken. Mark thanked Soulman, who then pointed Mark towards his booth and proceeded to sell Mark several voodoo shoe charms to protect him from any future curses, possessions, or other supernatural influences. Since the domestic terrorist group BLM had managed to convince the mayor of Milwaukee to defund the police, no cops came and no charges were ever pressed. Mark walked out of the convention center unaccosted. And barefoot. He caught an Uber to the airport and made it safely back home. He sent an e-card with kittens and rainbows on it to Amelia, apologizing for nearly kicking her brains out. But she was a tough chick who had experienced a lot worse than some demonically possessed shoe loser. Mark emerged from the ordeal forever changed. Though he had escaped the clutches of the shoes, the experience had left its mark. The horrors he had witnessed and the darkness he had confronted would forever haunt his dreams. For at least a week or two. Mark really didn't have too much going on upstairs. We're actually surprised he never went on a serial killing spree. Oh well. Maybe next time. It was a chilly autumn evening when Reggie Connor stumbled upon an intriguing online auction. Among the macabre items up for bidding was a pair of worn tennis shoes that once belonged to a notorious serial killer.